my YouTube.
Yeah.
But that was the emphasis.
Yeah. Who's chilling? Take care of these little rugrats. What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing up there?
Playing with flowers.
What are you guys doing?
One.
You find some flowers?
Yeah. Say hi, friends. Look.
You find some flowers?
Friends, show the friends your flowers. They're right there in that little circle. Hi. Say hi, guys. Hi, guys. She's trying to look in the phone.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Fun.
All right, so we're out in the mandated stay-at-home public area in North Carolina. We just did a little walk through downtown. Got some coffee at a local store, and this local store is now selling groceries and like household items. Yeah, Nina says it's really cute. This is Justice. And I asked them like when they started doing that, or how long they've been doing that, or if they'd always been doing that. And they said they just started doing it in this past week. But we're out walking around, and there's a line of people outside, like by the coffee shop, like what are they for? In line for the DMV. Sit there and let one person in at a time.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's the license plate.
Or license plate. It's not DMV. But yeah, we're just. What's up, Headbanger? We're going. Okay. We're talking about just the lockdown, like all over the place in the U.S., and how some states are trying to lock down their entire state, and there's papers being issued. Somebody said nice shave.
Oh yeah.
There's papers being issued to people to travel, like, you know, have their papers for travel that says that they're essential. It's essential. They're to be out and about in public. And so that's why the title of this is like, you know, Berlin Wall times ellipsis. Like, you know, the Berlin Wall is a divider between the East and West Berlin. You know, went up after World War II for separation and control purposes, and that's what you guys are experiencing now, separation and control. So, but at a much larger level, you know. If you believe the reports from around the world from different sources, it might be global level, right? There's reports national, things like that. The different lockdown things, like there's an executive order for North Carolina. It talks about you know, what's essential roles or essential whatever, and news and media is on there. Yeah, I don't know anybody personally that has it. If anybody has any personal knowledge, firsthand knowledge of somebody with the virus, somebody just said, I think it said Binger, said I don't know anybody. That's a good point, right? So, again, we're not saying that there isn't a virus. There are, I don't know, probably millions or billions, I don't know, probably more than that, viruses on the planet. I'm not a biologist. And you have tons of viruses in your system at any given time. And the question is it a threat to you? You know, is it in an amount that's threatening to you and causing you harm, or at what levels? What's up, Ken? And yeah, there's all kinds of messed up stats with reporting on this coronaphobia going on. So yeah. Why start trusting mainstream media now? Like, why start trusting the government now? Like, they they have a horrible track record of lying to the public, lying to each other, and yeah. So yeah, they're definitely lying to the people. But it's crazy, right? So the the executive orders they're coming out from governors and presidents and all this stuff to lock stuff down, right? The quote leaders. Somebody said we're quarantined to protect the vulnerable. That's a lofty goal, but does it actually work? Is it actually working? Is there an actual threat? The vulnerable are vulnerable anyway. Like there's, you know, the
Flu, why don't we get locked down?
yeah, the flu this season has killed, like, estimates are like 33,000 people for this season of the flu, and there's no lockdown for that. Like there's these other viruses that go around. Like the vulnerable are always going to be vulnerable until we eliminate, you know, disease and everything altogether. So I'm not saying don't take care of the vulnerable. I'm saying if you're vulnerable or if you know somebody is, find a way to take care of them, regardless of what season it is, regardless of what scare may be going around or what virus or illness may be circulating. You know, you have to find a way to take care of the vulnerable. That doesn't mean that everybody else needs to give up their livelihoods and their lives and freedom, right? Because there's no evidence that this is going to work, or that this is working. We do have evidence that this is separation and control. Yeah, we have evidence that this is separation and control. Right? Hey, good morning. So people are being stopped on the road, demanding, you know, papers to prove that they're essential, right? Like papers, you know. So we have Gestapo-like tactics that are being employed. At a very large scale. For what? You know? For what? So.
Because it's different words and it's framed differently.
Yeah.
People are saying it the way.
Yeah, you word it differently, you frame it differently, right? Everybody wants to try to take the high road and look back at history and judge, right? Judge the Nazis. Now I'm not on the side of Nazis. Don't mishear me. I'm not on the side of Nazis. But everybody wants to judge and say, oh, these are horrible people. You know, why? Nobody in their right mind would torture somebody, and nobody would do all these horrible things that the Nazis were doing, right? Accused of doing. Then you check out the Milgram experiment, right? You guys look up the Milgram experiment. There's YouTube videos on it. Or I think Stanley Milgram, I don't know his first name, but there's a scientist, sociologist, I think, that was super interested in why the Nazi defense in Nuremberg was, you know, just following orders, and it was a very common defense, right, that everybody was trying to take stance. And the experiment was set up to check people's authority, like their belief in authority and their willingness to do whatever somebody they believe to be an authority. It was just a guy in a lab coat for this experiment. Like some guy in a lab coat is telling them to electrocute somebody, and I think it was like 75% of the subjects would give somebody a lethal electric shock because some guy in a lab coat said so. Right? That's crazy. A big mainstream media company redid it in the 2000s and found about the same numbers, about 75%. They believe for some reason that they have to do it, that they are no longer responsible for their own actions, that the person in what they believe to be authority is responsible for their actions. They're flipping the switch to kill somebody, right? And that's what's going on right now, right? It's the same thing that's happening with the Nazis, but it happened with the Nazis. You know, they believe it's somebody of authority, quote authority, but they believe it's authority, telling them to do some horrible things, and so it lets them off the hook. right? And that's exactly what's going on all around the world. It's going on in the U.S., right? People that have what you believe to be authority are telling you to do things, against your judgment, against your conscience, against what you believe in, right? You can't assemble. They're telling you can't assemble. They're telling you can't worship. You can't, go to your religious gathering, right? They're telling you can't have a party to celebrate loved ones or anything you want to celebrate, right? They're telling you all these things that are essential liberties, essential freedoms, right? And everybody seems to be like, yeah, we have to do it to protect the vulnerable, and it's those two are not diametrically opposed, right? You can still protect the vulnerable and have freedom and have liberty. It's not one or the other. Don't believe the dichotomy that the mainstream's trying to feed into you, to get you to believe, I have to give up all freedom and all liberty and lock myself in my house in order to protect the vulnerable. That's nonsense. Right? You can find ways to protect the vulnerable. So the papers, thing, having essential documentation to prove that either you've been approved by the government to walk around and do things. What was it? Reagan is one of Reagan's speeches. He said the 9 most dangerous words in the English language is, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help."
Oh, geez.
Right? And that's what's going on. People So yeah, don't give in to the fear. Wake up, realize what's going on, realize that you are free, right? That you have the freedom of the press, that you have the freedom to assemble, right? You have the freedom to protest. Okay, these are all First Amendment things. And so if you're stopped and demanded papers, of course record, right? And vocalize that, vocalize. Oh, I'm part of the media. I'm exercising freedom of the press, right? Or I'm exercising First Amendment activity to protest and freedom of the press, right? Make it clear that it's under the First Amendment, right? They don't. Now, I'm not saying that the person that has a costume and a shiny piece of metal on and a gun is going to understand or care, because they clearly don't. Most of them, but in my experience and from listening to countless YouTube videos, most of them don't have the training and understanding to care. They're going to do what they're going to do because they were told they have authority and power to do whatever they want, and nobody's keeping them in check, right? That's what a lot of us are trying to do.
Yeah.
But how much are we moving that mark? How much are we moving that needle? So, yeah, doesn't mean you roll over. It means that you can make the argument, you can document it with video and audio, and then you share it. And if they continue to escalate and threaten to arrest and threaten to do you harm, you have to make that determination whether or not you're willing to endure that harm, that damage, that injustice for the cause of freedom. So that's on you. That's each person makes that decision. Some people want to take it up to the point where they're threatening arrest, threatening violence. They're always threatening violence and arrest, but you want them to articulate it. Once they articulate it, then some people back off. They go to that line and back off. That's typically been my stance, is to get them to clearly articulate what they're threatening, and then backing off. Okay, I just want to document. I want to understand exactly what you're threatening, and I don't want to go down that road. Let me back off. Let me do what you want to say. Do what you're telling me to do, master, because you're clearly dangerous and volatile, and you want to do harm to people, right? And but again, you're rolling the dice with that. Some people aren't willing to explain their actions. They just want to do you harm, right? So that's a risk assessment everybody's got to do. You want to read anything?
Oh, somebody said buy Bitcoin Cash. That's the most recent, huh?
Yeah, crypto. This week we posted something on, I think, the Facebook page. There's a interesting video talking about this might be a good ruse to finally destroy the dollar, the petrodollar, because it's been inflated, and not just inflated, but hyperinflated and built up through endless conquest and imperialism that I know firsthand. expanding the domain and territory of the ruling class from America to seize control of lands and resources, right? So that you can the ruling class in America, or the ones that control them, can order ongoing wars, never-ending wars, and more seizing and pressure and threats to get people to capitulate and come to heel. And that war that has been foreign to most Americans is now in your face, right? It's been going on. This war of on your freedoms has been happening for time. Yeah, immemorial. Like, it's been going on forever. But it's now in your face, people, America. Like, it's in your face. What are you gonna do about it? You're just gonna roll over and do what the masters say because the vulnerable. Like, again, not saying don't take care of the weak. Absolutely take care of the weak. But those two things are not diametrically opposed. Take care of the weak. If you have a weak immune system, if you are in a high risk category, do take precautions. If you know somebody that is, help them take precautions, right? But you can still enjoy your freedom, enjoy liberty, enjoy life, and make a stand. If we all collectively make a stand, there's an interesting video, Larkin Rose, I think it's Tiny Dot or Little Dot. You guys check that out on YouTube. Larkin Rose, either Tiny Dot or Little Dot, and he does a graphic illustration. And he describes like the hundreds of millions of us that are in the United States, the gang territory that is known as the United States, and then the very, very small dot of enforcers that they have, that the ruling class has employed. And everybody's afraid of this little tiny dot because when you take a stand, when you try to stand up for people's liberty, it feels like you're alone, even though you may have 30,000 people that follow you online, right? It still feels like you're alone when you're the only one getting beat up and caged and kidnapped, right? And there may be a network of people that are getting beat up and caged and kidnapped all around the country, but if you're not in the same cell, right? If you're not occupying the same space and having that person lean on to know that you're not alone, to fight together in a fight, right? This is the whole divide and conquer, separate and control. So it's disheartening. It could be very disheartening. Nobody can fish for food, yeah.
No breathing air.
No breathing air. Yeah. Yeah.
How are you going to help protect the weak if you don't help stop the spread?
Help stop the spread. We are helping stop the spread. The spread, the more dangerous spread is the spread of fear, the spread of propaganda. That's the spread that we need to stop, right? Not the spread of the virus. The virus will be destroyed. It's going to happen through adaptation, through how the planet survives, how species survive. Like, and we can take, because we're smart enough to fight it in other ways. We can wear masks. We can wear, I don't know if the mask, there's different studies on that, whether the masks work or not, or bandanas or different things. But there's precautions you can take, right? You can not touch your face. You can clean your hands. You can, if you're a high risk individual, you can do quarantine protocol or whatever you need to do, right, to help limit your exposure to things that are going to kill you. And that's not just this COVID virus thing, right? It's anything. It's large consumption of sugar and fast food, right? Yeah, somebody said seasonal flu has killed more people. Yeah, exactly. Right now, for the season, I think in America or in the U.S., it's like 33,000, I think, are the estimates. Seasonal flu has killed. And Yeah, so it's again, it's what you're being told and what you're believing, and then what you're spreading, what you're propagating. Are you passing the propaganda? Are you spreading fear? If you're spreading fear and you're spreading the propaganda, then you are causing more damage. You're causing more damage than you could if you spread a virus. Right? At least this virus. I'm sure there's all kinds of horrible flesh-eating viruses that we could spread there that would decimate people, but the spread of fear is the most dangerous spread that you can do. You want to take on? Let me turn this off.
Thinking about personal responsibility.
Yeah, just thinking about personal responsibility that, well, yes, absolutely help take care of each other, help take care of the weak. Like what you were talking about, take care of yourself, like the personal responsibility of taking care of cleaning things and sanitizing what you need to sanitize and what you need to do. Like, if we try to put it off on everybody else to make sure that we don't get sick, that's not how that works. Like you can't. That doesn't seem.
Yeah, it goes.
At all.
Just a second. Yeah, it goes back to personal responsibility, right? Personal accountability, taking personal responsibility, like yourself, for your security, for your safety, for your health and well-being, right? And helping those that can't do that themselves. That doesn't mean controlling them. That doesn't mean mandating that they can't do anything, right? That doesn't mean relegating your own personal safety and security to some unknown entity that you believe to be representing you, right? That steals from you and uses that money to do all kinds of horrible things around the world, including to yourself and your neighbors, right? That's not personal responsibility. That's giving up your responsibility, your accountability, and your freedom. And that's how most people live. And yeah, so stop the spread. Stop the spread of fear. Stop the spread of propaganda. And be personally responsible and stand up to tyranny. Stand up to this lockdown. Stand up to the threats of violence that they call laws or executive orders. They're nothing but threats of violence to keep you scared, to keep you separate, and to keep you underfoot, under control. All right, we're gonna take off. Anything else to add?
No.
All right, peace and love, everybody.
Love you.
Spread peace and love, and the oppressively bear.